Came up here Thursday night to watch reserves. There were an under-6, under-7 match over there. 20, 30 players running about. Crowd were full. Yesterday I come up. There was 60 playing cricket. Under-6 game on. Again, massive crowd. Semi-final. Been up this morning. Cricketers are just ready to start and starting their game. We've done over 50s walking football. We've done from 3 to 12 mini mainers, and I think what probably sums it all up, I've been up here this morning and my grandson who's 5's been up playing football, my son has been coaching, I've been playing walking football, and my stepdad who's 80 has been sat on bench watching. And what we as a club, I like to think what we as a club are about at walking football today. We've had Titch with his son playing, we have Glenn Smith with his son playing, grandkids doing walking football. We're a big family, we look after each other, and I think that's what sums Wombwell Main up, and long may that continue.
So you've had a few days to reflect, 8 minutes away from the title, and what do you look back? Missed opportunity, or what a season?
What a season. I've had quite a lot of people speaking to me. I've been a couple of games. I were at a game Thursday night, our reserves up here against Stocksbridge, day after last game of the season. And then last night we had a semi-final at Darcy Cup where a couple of Sunday sides played. So there were two good crowds, and a lot of people have come and said they've seen video and said how well we've had a season, and am I disappointed? And I can honestly say there's never been a moment that I've like thought, oh, we've missed out on something. Just everything what happened on Wednesday, from getting here, lads were in a positive mood. When the equaliser with Dodder penalty, and we thought we had a chance, and then Swinton went up. It was a funny moment. You were disappointed, but you were laughing about it, thinking we could actually do this, or we could have. But I've never since then. I slept well, just thinking things over. But there's never been a moment since that I've thought we've missed out on something. We might not get that close ever again, or for a while. I'd like to think we will. But no, I've never been not disappointed at all. I'm just so pleased with how lads have adapted themselves to the season. And if you look at the season, there's only 2 teams in league who bet us. Obviously we lost to Epworth twice. There's only 2 teams in league who've actually bet us, Epworth and Penistone. Epworth, I think it was second game of the season away. We were 2-0 up after 30 minutes, and there was no way we could ever lose that game. We were all over them. We're bossing, could have been 3-4. They scored a free kick just before half time, and then we had a daft 10 minutes where our keeper got sent off, and we ended up losing with last kick at game 3-2. So I mentioned other day Answorth game dropping 2 points about a month ago, 4 or 5 games from end. But if you look as far back as second game of the season, that game I think is probably worst I felt as regards to losing points. When Epworth came up here, they were good. That's probably, I would say, the one game we deserved to lose. Epworth were good up here. When we played Swinton, Penistone, 2-0, it was just a bizarre second goal. First goal, wind assisted a little bit, and the second goal a mistake. Second half was just a non-event, 0-0 boring second half. That could have gone either way. Draws, what we've said. Wombwell, when we played Wombwell Town up here, first Wombwell derby for many years. If that game had been played in my back garden, I think I'd have closed curtains. It was the worst game of football I've seen for some time. I think both teams were more interested in not losing than winning, and I spoke to Carl after. I think it was just a bit of a non-event. At their place we drew. That was a better game, 2 apiece at half time, from being 2-0 up again. Possibly an opportunity missed there. Swinton, mentioned it the other day, conceded it away at Swinton at last minute, conceded at Stocksbridge at last minute. So they're points that we've dropped, but disappointed? No, I'm not. I'm buzzing for how we've gone, and excited already about next season.
So come back to some of the sort of the highlights, but when you look back at the summer, how depressed were you at times in thinking we're not even going to get anywhere near the top 5, never mind the top spot?
We lost a few players. We lost. I mean, young Owen Sykes had a great season previous year. Kian Guest came and did us a great job. They both went and played higher, and they're going to play higher because they're good players. And I said it the other day. The issue we've got this year, end of this season, is keeping us players. I hope we do. And I'd be shocked if nobody didn't come and look at them. Gaddafi tried it a little bit higher. Came back to us. So they were 3 big players from all 3 of them actually. Played it Owen didn't. Owen were injured, but they all played it representative game at end of last season. So it shows what quality they'd got. Dale didn't start season off with us in nets. Obviously we got Slavin, and he's been a great addition to team. But probably 2 weeks before start of season, me and Paul sat down and said, we need to get players in. And at that time, to get players in at level we needed were going to be difficult. And I think that what reserves have done, and I know reserves have got relegated this year, and we're all disappointed about that. But my vision of reserves should be to get young lads in and promote them into first team. So we promoted Attlee, Ethan Kenny's coming from reserves, Joe Campbell's coming from reserves, 1 or 2 more. Bailey, when Bailey Cos started, we lost Bailey at the start of the season, but he came back. But Bailey came through reserves. So our reserves have actually done exactly what we asked them to do. I'd have loved them not to get relegated, but it gives us an opportunity to bring some more young lads in. I also run an under-15s, we're under-16 next year. We've had a good season, and as soon as they turn 16, I'm wanting a lot of them to come through, and that's the model that we want, that kids within club, and we've got a really good junior section, within club you've got young lads saying I want to play for Barnsley or Sheff Wednesday, probably not after last night Wednesday result. I want to play for Man U, Man City, Barnsley. If I don't get in with them, I want to play with Wombwell Main, and we've not always had that. Whereas now we want to try and get a conveyor belt of youth coming in, and hopefully that's going to start next season with my under-16s.
So looking at highlights, and an early one certainly Attlee at Dodder, based on you running on the pitch, because obviously Dodder have always sort of had one over you because of late goals and things like that. But games like Ulterbridge, which have been forgotten about a little bit, because I think you went with 11 men, didn't you, and 1 sub?
We went with 11 men. I've just finished now. Obviously we finished game on Wednesday. As I say, I've been to watch 2 games up on ground since, and I've just been doing over 50s walking football. So it just shows what Wombwell Main is in my blood, and I'm here, as much as I am at home. But I've been up here and with walking football lads, with Toddy, with Titch, lads who come and watch us every week. There's been Mini Mainers, and at side of us there's been Jake, who's club captain, Hazard, who's centre half, coaching from 3-year-olds up. So what we are doing as a club's great. One of the lads who teaches his lad, he comes and does walking football with us, and he went with us to Ulterbridge, signed on that day, George. He's 23. He's never played 11-a-side football from being under 15. After 20 minutes, Finlay come off with an hamstring injury, and George went on, and it was a bit of a baptism of fire. He didn't know positionally, he struggled. He went on and he did an absolutely great job. And that win, that 3-2 win, it was just before Christmas. I said, looking back, I remember after the game I said, this could be a turning point at season. And I mentioned it the other day, after the game after that, Stocksbridge, football wise, that's what best we've played this season. We went and played Stocksbridge, and it's always a tough one at Stocksbridge. We don't generally get good results there. But we bet them, it was 2-0 at half time, and we scored 2 early in second half and went on and won 5-0. and played some great football, scored some great goals. So I think that those two games, the game before Christmas and the game after Christmas, what turning point. Then we went on a good run, good run.
So just to put the Ulterbridge game into perspective, you went with 11 players and one player who'd never played 11-side football before and won the game.
Yeah. And although I know a lot of Ulterbridge lads from coaching them when I was at Chef Wednesdays, a few of their lads, and Leon who runs them. Leon were at Wednesdays at that time. So I've always had always enjoyed going Ulterbridge, but they've always been tough games. And I remember at game, Leon came in. He went, I only recognise 2 or 3 of your players. I said, we're down at bare bones today. We went 1-0 up. It was Slav's first. He played his first game against Swinton. It was his first away game. Slav goalkeeper, and he had a good game. Well, he's had a great season since he's come in. We went 1-0 up. They equalised. We went 2-1 up. They got an equaliser just after half time, and then we went 3-2 up. That day, Kyle Brown, who unfortunately broke his leg playing with Sunnyside, that day he was superb as centre forward. But work commitments and, as I say, a bad injury. We hadn't seen a lot of Kyle. His twin brother there, Kieran, were there that day. Kieran played his first game for us, and they were just all men. It was just great. Played without any pressure, and it was a right result. Great performance, great result as well.
So in terms of lows, you look at the Gorba game, which was billed as a massive game. I mean, was that a game what brought you together as well?
The Gorba game, I mean, I'm not going to say too much about the events, what happened, but I remember after the Gorba game, at that time, they'd just done an interview with non-league Yorkshire, and they were top at league, and as I said the other day, they were favourites in a poll that was it. They were favourites to go on and win league, and they were form side. And I remember that they sort of flipped it and said, "Oh, pressure's on Wombwell. Wombwell have got to do this." And we went with no pressure, and we played really well that day. Up to the game being abandoned, we played really well. We went 1-0 up. Joe Campbell barely put a great ball into the back stick. Joe Campbell headed. They equalised, and then just before half time, young Finn broke clear, and we went 2-1 up, and come out second half and played some good football before the game got abandoned. I remember after, felt really low about how the game ended, and I spoke to Paul and Don that night, and I said, in a bizarre way, this could bring this team on 18 months. They're a young side. I'd not witnessed anything like that in 30, 40 years of football, so certainly they hadn't.
So it was the worst incident you'd seen in that long length of time involved in football?
Yeah, it was. And I just said, I says, it'll bring them on 18, and I think it has, and it's something what I wish hadn't have happened, but in a bizarre way, it's brought these young lads on, and they've matured, and they've gone on and finished season on a massive high, regardless of position, and regardless of you could have, you should have, you would have, the finished season on a massive high.
In terms of social media, I mean, you probably don't get much into it, but there's a lot of myths about that particular game, in the sense of, it's not all what what you've heard. But do you feel there's been a little bit of animosity towards Wombwell, even though you were totally innocent of anything?
People who were there know what happened, and we all. You're always going to defend your own, and if you say something long enough, you start to believe it. Now, I'm not going to say what happened. FA dealt with it, league dealt with it. Not one of our players got a fine. Not one of our players got a ban. We didn't receive any fines at all from that. So that's my point of view, and I've not really spoke to anybody about it, and I won't. I'll say, listen to what you want to. We took it on board. We moved forward. I said that regardless of what were going to happen this season, we won't go back to Gorba, and I meant that. And that was before a decision had been made. I says, I'll not come and bring Wombwell Main back to Gorba this season. Next season's different. It's a new season. But I said then, and I meant it, I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't take them lads. I told them in changing room after, we'll not come back here and play again this season here. And I meant it, and I like to think I am true to my word. And that's why we didn't go back. Yeah. What league's decision? So you have to stand by what they said, and that's enough said. They made that decision. Some people will say, it was 3 points. There's been 2 games this season where we've been innocent party, where players have played unregistered players, a match has been abandoned. We haven't made any decisions. League have made decisions on them both, but we've been seen by some quarters as the favoured Wombwell Main because of this, because of that, because of other. We haven't done anything wrong.
Does it annoy you that, or do you think it's other people's obsessions?
To be fair, I don't have a lot to do with social media, so I only hear it. It's sort of second hand, third hand. Oh, have you seen this? I'm not going. No, I haven't. There's some people who are involved in the league, and they probably need to. If some decisions went against them, then their club probably won't still be at Premiership this year. But they still think that they can make little comments. But we'll do what we do, and I've said it last 2 or 3 times I've spoke. We can only do what we do. We can't influence a league decision. We can't influence a game what we're not directly involved in, and we'll keep doing that. And I know that as a club we're moving in the right direction, and not hopefully, while ever under my leadership, that's what we'll do. We'll keep doing things the right way. So
you move on to the Penistone game, which we've talked about earlier, so we don't need to go into that. But we lost there. But then you thought, it was a case of are we out of the title race? But what did the Donath win here when Ryan Wingrove scored with 8 minutes to go? What did that do to the title race from your perspective?
Donath have always. We're playing in a charity game. It's Good to Talk Cup run by Wazza, and Wazza knows obviously Daz Young and Daz Mill. So we've played them last 3 or 4 years. We've never won Donath. We lost to them at the start of this season in that cup. Well, I think we lost 5-0. I was on holiday actually. Then we played them in second round at League Cup and lost them to them up here. A game where I thought we were better side, and I think if you speak to Daz, he'll probably say, yeah, you were on that day. So when we came here and we're just coming back off at Penistone loss, we were in changing rooms, and before game we do what we do, we prepared right, and we said, we looked at Donath's strengths, we know where they're good, we know that they're a big physical side, we know that set plays are a danger. We caught with it really well. And I think that we knew, we never said, lose this and we're out of it, but I think everybody knew the situation with League. So to win that game, and as I said, to win Donath for the first time in quite a number of games, it was a great result. You look again at key moments, and I know videos out there, and Ryder won't thank me for saying this, James Byford, but last minute header back post in that end goal there. If it had been today where we've had a bit of rain, it might have gone in. It was a day what we'd had like couple of weeks of sun. Pitch were baking hard. He headed it that well. It's hit the ground from 6 yard out and ballooned over crossbar. Key moments again. That one went in our favour. Week before at Penistone, a bad bobble over keeper's foot. 2-0 down. It wasn't in our favour, but that's what football's about, isn't it? You get some bouncers going for you, some they don't, and you like to think at end of the season it'll level itself out, and I think it has.
So how do you sum it up overall? You said that you're not disappointed about not winning the league, even though we came so close. How would you describe it? Unforgettable.
I just think that. You asked me the other day about if I remembered anything about 13 years ago when we won league. I've thought about a few of things actually, what that season since then. But I think if you ask me in 13 years' time, can you remember when you played up here against Ecclesfield or Rose? I'd instantly go, all right, what a Wednesday night, last game of the season, kicking off at 6:15, and on the same day I'd be able to tell you everything about it, because I've never known a last day fixtures like that. And I hope it happens every season, because how good is it for league and for people involved? But 13, 15, 20 years down the line, I think I'll remember more about that game than any other game at season. Just the whole atmosphere. I mean, we were still in club at 2 or 3 hours after the game, and there were no tears of disappointment. There were a few you looked at it and you spoke about different moments, but it was a good laugh-filled atmosphere, and it has been ever since. And everybody I've spoke to have had positive conversations about game, and were you disappointed? And as I said earlier, no, I'm not. I'm proud of what we've done, and I just hope that we can build on that.
Is there a particular highlight that is your most highlight of the season, or is it one we've already mentioned, or is there a particular highlight?
We've spoke about Atlas' free kick away at Dodworth last minute at game, which got us a point. But Atlas scored a free kick on here against Gorba to 2-0, and it's as good a free kick as I've ever seen. That was one of my big highlights. Slav's first game for us against Swinton on here, we were winning 1-0, and they've had a shot last minute at game, goal bound. We were going in Otway, and he's got down. And we didn't know a lot about Slav. We brought him in from Sunderland. We didn't know a lot about him, and he's made a full length dive and tipped it round post. At referee's blown whistle. That sticks in my mind. The last 10 seconds against Sheffield Town when we scored, and from where I am, I'm like, you cheer, you go up, you cheer, similar to Ecclesfield Red Rose when we hit battle the day. You go up and cheer, and then just think, I hope linesman's in a good position, and that day he wasn't. And to be fair, other night he was, they made right decision by disallowing goal. But that were good. And you look at league, and I've said it that I think it'll be stronger next year. But you look at our fixtures, and against Ecclesfield Red Rose, we bet them quite comfortably at their place, and you'd look 4-1 were comfortable the night. But it was a tough game. You look at Kirby again, we bet them 6 up here. We went and played them away first time. Obviously, the result didn't stand. We went and played them second time, won 1-0. Tough game. Sheffield Town, first game at season, we were 2-0 up after 10 minutes. We never touched ball for 60 minutes after that. We scored 2 late on, and 4-0 looked an easy game, but it was a really tough game. Scored with last 10 minutes. So the 3 teams that have got relegated have given us 3 of the toughest games we've had all season. Stocksbridge up here, 2 apiece. 2 apiece, yeah. They scored it last minute, but they deserved to score. They were, for 30 minutes, they were very, very good. If you don't give it 100% in this league against anybody, and I say it in changing rooms, it's something I use a lot. If you drop your guard, you're giving everybody a fighter's chance, and they're going to stick you on chin, because there's good players and it's a good standard of league. So you've got to be at the top of your game, whether you're playing Dodworth or Swinton for league decider, or you're playing, as I say, Sheffield Town or Ecclesfield Red Rose, who are fighting to stay in league. It's a good league.
So next season then, what happens next?
I like to think, I mean, people have got a perception of me, and I've changed quite a lot actually. I don't know if it's because I've become a granddad, I'm slowing down, I don't know. But I've changed a lot, and a lot of people say, someone mentioned it the other day, oh yeah, Terry Simon, he's a good lad, but he winds everybody up, his mouth, yeah, I've had that in past, and that or who I was then, and my passion for football hasn't changed, but my demeanour on sideline I think has, well, I don't think, I know it has, and it changed. I've always, whatever team I've ran, or whatever group of people I've been involved in, you look after your own, and people, I'd like to think, who've gone on and played for other teams, have always sort of been welcoming when they've seen me at their games or at other games. I'm loyal, and last year that went against us, because lads who had a good season and I said we'd go on and compete, we didn't go looking for other players, because I wanted to be loyal to lads who came. And I'm not saying they weren't loyal to me, they got offered money and they went, but we left it until a week, 2 weeks before season, before they told me that they were going, which wasn't helpful for us. Lads who've played this season, and I've said we've had a squad of 16, they'll all get a fair crack. But what we are looking at doing is tweaking, and we'll certainly be bringing two looking to strengthen in 2 areas, possibly 3. Each area at pitch, I think we'll be looking to strengthen at the back. I think we possibly need a different type of dynamic in midfield, and probably more of the physical presence up top. So that's where we'll be looking to strengthen. But players who come in need to be better than players we've got, and players we've got need to look at players we're bringing in and saying, you're not taking my shirt. And all that's going to do, hopefully, is give us a better squad and a better chance of being successful next year.
And obviously you don't want to put, you know, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But I think the message is, it's difficult now because you've got to second place. You've got to be looking to push on, haven't you? It's not just a case of, oh, finishing top 6.
Top 5, James, that's all we're going for, top 5. I said it, you know, Penistone finished 8th. I think it was Answorth, possibly Gorbett 7th, Answorth 6th, and that's without Stocksbridge. So there's 9 teams there who are all going to give themselves a chance at league. You look at 3 teams coming up. I can't really recall teams who have come up from Division 1 and sort of blown league away and come back. Wombwell Town have had a good season by finishing 5th, but I can't think of any teams who have come up and pushed top 2, 3. Whether the three sides who are coming up do that, but you look, as I said, 9 who I've mentioned who are in this year and have been in for the last 4 or 5 years, and then 2 or 3 coming up. Top 5, it is a tough one. It's a tough one, and if we can get that, great. If we can match what we've done this year, great. If we can go on better and finish champions, I'd take that.
Just in terms of success, how strong would you say the club was in terms of not just the team but off the field as well? Would you say it's been a success in that shape that because we're not disappointed, it's just like, let's go again next season, and we're strong in loads of areas, volunteer-led, the team, management team?
You look at some sides, and I've been to different clubs, and I've been involved in the league for probably 15, 20 years, and you look at clubs who, great example, Ecclesfield Red Rose, great club. They've got people who are been there long serving, such as Malk and guys who help Malk. But it's getting harder and harder to get people involved and supporting. We've got a really good core of people. I mean, Toddy, groundsman. Toddy played with me when we played at Main 25, 30 years ago. He's still here. Ground's never looked as good as it is. We've got Taff, Titch, who are here every week. They'll run round with raffle, they'll sweep changing rooms up, they'll put nets up, they'll bring corner flags in. You've got people like that. You've got Wazza, who does all admin side. We've got a good core group of people. Obviously, we started season with me and Paul as coaching. We brought Donovan in. We brought yourself in, James, and we're strong in that. As reserve started with Jacko as manager. Work commitments meant he had to take a back step, but we got Luke Rigg and Dylan Jackson involved. Tom Taylor, Jake Barton. So we are strong, and I've always said you can't do anything with 1 or 2 people, and you can't have too many people on match days. You go down at junior section, and we're now pretty much from 15, 16 downwards. And I said to my 16s at the start of the season, we won't be division, we've lost 1 game all season. We've got presentation night on Wednesday at Metrodome, and I said to him, I says, look, the aim for the season is to be as successful as we possibly can. I says, but if you win league, if you win cups, your medal will be on show for a month on mantelpiece. It'll then end up in a cupboard. It'll then end up in a box, and before end of the season, it'll be up in loft, and you'll never see it again. I says, what our aim is for you to come and play for reserves and for first team. So that's what I like to think ethos at club is. It's great to win, but it's not win at all costs. And make sure that we've got a foundation of players in 2, 3, 4 years' time, where every season we know, well, he's coming through 17s, he's coming through 18s, that lad at 16s is worth a look at. And that's what I want us to do, and we're going the right way. We're going the right way to do that. So hopefully we can continue.
So the message is, we're not disappointed, we're just looking forward to next year.
That's exactly right. At minute, I think I'm going to go watch another match this afternoon. A couple of Chaddy, who play for us, and a couple of lads, Martin Watkin, they're playing in a Junior Sheffield Cup. So I think I'm going to go watch them and support them. I'm going to watch a cup final tomorrow morning where a couple of our lads are involved in. Have a couple of weeks off, and then I'll be itching to start pre-season, and we'll go again.